down and listen to records. Smell the cover, read all the verses. Tell me about your favorites on Vinyl and Vision.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 134. Holy shit, we have a lot of these. Today's very special guest is Nikii Post. That's Nikki with two eyes. That is not a typo. Nikii is the lead singer and guitarist, primary songwriter, I think is fair to say, for the band In Lieu. They have a new album coming out on October 25th, just in time for Halloween, yes! On Learning Curve Records. I will provide links in the show notes, of course, to the vinyl pre-sale, which is happening now, and as well as their record release party happening also in Minneapolis. I don't know the date for that exactly, but the link will be in the show notes. You can get it. You can get the info. Nikii is a wonderful person. We had a great conversation, I feel. Either I was so well prepared or the conversation was just so easy to have that it just went off without a hitch, and it's great. So this conversation has little to no edits whatsoever. Those are always the best ones, I feel. So Nikii is great. I just knew it just from listening to the new record. I was advanced a copy, and as soon as I heard the first song, the first single, Godfucker, I knew this was a very special band. They've been around for a while. They've been kind of honing. I think that they're growing and developing, which is always a cool thing to witness and to be part of as a band is kind of like, reaching out and kind of growing and, becoming what they will be known for, maybe. Who knows? It's hard to say. Music business is a strange and shitty business, just in case you didn't know. But, yeah, I was immediately compelled when I heard it. And I listened to everything else that I could get my hands on, and I listened to the whole new record, and it's a great piece. It's a really great record. It's a little short. Songs are very concise, which is fine by me. I have a very short attention span. The album of discussion tonight is obviously the Melvins Stoner Witch. Nikii is very much a huge fan of the Melvins. And I think, honestly, that if you know the Melvins and you like their music, whether it's Stoner Witch or any other albums of theirs, there's a very good possibility you will like In Lieu and their new album, Hooligan, specifically. Not to say that they are the same, but, it's inspired by, it's influenced by, and therefore there's some elements in there that are similar. That's nice when that happens. It doesn't always happen, but... yeah, it works out in this situation. So please do all those things. Find the band In Lieu. Listen for yourself. They have a new single out. Actually, it's the title track off of the album. And there's 2 music videos that they released for that are currently available. I will provide links in the show notes for those as well, because they're very cool. One is actually like a live taping in the studio, which I didn't do the research on it because it just came out, but it seems like it's the recording of the song. Even if it's not, it's definitely in the studio, and in the studio they recorded in. And it was kind of cool to witness, because like Nikii looks like completely effortless in delivering this guttural, raw, screaming song, and it's pretty wild. I like it. I like it a lot. So I hope you like it too. And hope you enjoy the show today. If you do all the things you do with the internet, is what we like to say here. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all of those things. If it doesn't seem like I have repeated that many times over the course of the years, I don't know why that would be. Just, but you can find us on the web. Our webpage now is psychic-static.com. It's a new website, still under development. And I think that's it for now. I actually have an announcement to make. I have a new band, and we are playing our debut show this coming weekend. Sunday, September 28th, I believe is the date. It's going to be at Myrtle in East Providence, which is a wonderful venue. It's actually an early show. It's a matinee. So I just want to let you people know, if you're in the neighborhood, if you are somewhere in the Rhode Island vicinity, or maybe even Mass, come to that. It would be great. It'd be great to see you. I'm pretty sure there's no cover. So early show for all the adults out there. Uh, it's gonna be the first show. It's a little nerve wracking. It's cool. I'm very excited about it, regardless. So we'll see what happens. Hope to see you there. And if not, we're gonna do another one very soon. I'll let you know. Just follow us on the social medias, and you'll find out when we're doing that. Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy. Hello, Nikki Post.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this app.
Oh, I understand. It's a learning curve. You don't use the Zoom often.
No, not super often, just for things like this.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Have you not done any other podcasts? I'm curious. I haven't searched. I haven't seen your name in a search yet.
Not really.
Okay.
Um, yeah, kind of new to these.
Couple of radio interviews, right?
A little bit, yeah, just short ones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I think I saw one. I can't remember which station it was, but you had done a performance on air.
Oh yeah, for Radio K. Yeah, they had us on for our last album release.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool. That was very nice. It was an opportunity for me to see you actually too, because I have not seen your band play yet.
Hmm.
But I like what I'm hearing so far. It's pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, you have a new album coming out. Oh my God, it's called Hooligan. It's coming out on
Hooligan.
Learning Curve Records, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I have been advanced it and I listened to it and I think that it's a fantastic album.
Thank you very much. We're
Yeah,
very excited about it.
yeah. I've read your bio as well, and I know that you think that this is probably one of your best work yet.
Yeah, I think so. This is definitely the first record that we've sort of recorded, and we recorded it back in February, and still just enjoy listening to it and haven't been like picking it apart or anything, or even really feeling the need to kind of move on and start writing a bunch of material already. We've
Oh, sure.
enjoyed kind of sitting with this record. So, yeah, I'd say it's probably the one we're most proud of.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that's a great feeling, and I'm happy that you have that feeling about your record, you know. We'll probably get into a little bit more of that actually as we continue. Um, well, maybe we should start like where I normally start. You know, you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, like kind of where you're born and raised?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Minnesota. So I was born in Farmington, Minnesota, about 30 minutes south of the cities. And basically, kind of once I became a teenager, I spent all of my time in the cities. And I've been living up here in Minneapolis since I was about 18.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, been doing the music thing since yeah, kind of straight out of high school.
Yeah, okay. Well, when did you start playing?
Um, My mom got me a guitar when I was probably 12 or 13, I think. And I used to just play little acoustic gigs around town at like bars and coffee shops and things like that.
Sure, yeah.
Um, and then also at the garage in Burnsville, which is kind of where a ton of other bands kind of had their first little projects to try and meet people. And um, yeah, I was a solo artist for quite a while, and then started picking up. I did our first record with someone I've been in Bloomington at the time that was in bands. Um, and we just did drums and guitar for our first record. And then as the years have gone on, I've just started working with different people. And now I'm kind of in a lineup where we're very solid. And I think this is the permanent lineup.
Yeah, yeah. At least you hope, right? I mean, there's only so much you can do. No, I noticed that. I mean, I went back and listened to your entire catalog as well, like everything I could find. So everything that is on the streaming services. So I imagine your first album or your first recording is on there.
Um, we took a lot of our stuff down off of like our earliest stuff off of like Spotify and the mainstreaming. We still have it present on like Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
Just because we do have people that, you know, have literally yelled at us for taking it down. Some people are very attached. And that's totally cool. That's obviously a huge compliment to even care about the first little things that we, don't even think about having put out. Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, our first record I think we released and recorded in 2016, just as a two-piece with me and a drummer. Um, and then yeah, I think we sounded very different back then, and have never been super proud of that sound. I think it was always a little too gentle for me.
Hmm.
Not really knowing how to get into the heavier stuff. And then once we did, it was kind of just let's erase and try to start fresh. And
So
um,
once you go really heavy, you never go back.
yeah, no, not at all.
Well,
Once we figured out how to do it, it's just been kind of a pattern of trying to get heavier and harder every record.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about that a little bit because so you started playing when you were 12, 13,
Yeah, right around there.
and it was guitar first.
Yep.
So you've always played guitar
I've always played guitar, for the
and
most
always
part.
sang.
Yes, yes. I've always done the kind of singer-songwriter position, I suppose. And then when I got into high school, there was a battle of the bands that this band was doing locally, and they wanted to do like a female vocal for it. So I was like, "Hey guys, I do that." And I they were like, "Yeah, cool, you can do it." And that band ended up needing a bassist, and they were like, "Well, if you play guitar, you can play bass."
Oh
So
yeah.
they threw me on bass, and I did that for I think like a year or so. So
Hmm.
I was just playing bass, and then I switched back to electric guitar. So I was originally on just like a acoustic guitar to bass and then electric guitar. And once I realized just how much you could do with guitar, I realized that's where my kind of home was.
Okay. All right. Well,
Um,
that's cool. Well, so now even going back earlier than that, I mean, like, so, growing up in the house, what was music like? What do you remember as a kid?
oh shoot. My mom was a huge country fan actually. So my little brother and I were completely just raised on just like country music.
Sure. This is Midwest country, and this is what
Yeah,
years do you think? Like early 90s or mid 90s?
probably 90s, probably mid 90s. My mom used to go to like We Fest every year and stuff. So
Cool,
she was
man.
yeah, that was her thing. But she actually used to work at a radio station when she was a teenager. And even though she didn't really listen to like rock music anymore, she one day I found this little binder of old CDs that she had from the radio station, and it had like Megadeth in it. And
Oh,
that's when I was like, oh, this is the stuff I like to listen to. And she goes, oh, okay, we'll switch radio stations up in the car. And then from there, I think it was just rock music for me. There was no other genre
hmm.
that I was like, interested in. I kind of dropped everything, and it was just that for, I mean, it still kind of is now, I suppose. But
But how old were you, do you think, when you discovered that binder?
um, shoot, it was probably just a couple years before I learned to play guitar. I was probably like 11 or 12 or something.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So, but so, so you just jumped right into metal, you think, really?
Yeah, I really liked heavy music right off the bat. Anything that was I don't know, there was just something about that emotion driving the music that appealed to me a lot more than just like country music where feelings I feel like kind of tend to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more about having a good time. I
Or a little
immediately
sappier? Yeah.
a little happier. Yeah, I was
Sure.
immediately like a very serious kid, and I think um I think music that was heavier and scarier just appealed to me right away.
Yeah. Well, why do
Thankfully.
you think that is? I mean, like, would you, I mean, as a little kid, I don't know if you even kind of think about the concept of being goth, but I mean, like, were you interested in like horror movies or like, was there some fascination with like, kind of things that were dangerous or were scary or I don't know. I don't know how to describe exactly.
I wish I knew actually. I think I was just always like kind of more of a serious person. Just like growing up, I suppose you could like attribute it to like my upbringing, family upbringing being like a little bit less normal than like the mom and dad at home kind of thing.
Oh,
Obviously
divorced
that
parents, you
affects,
mean?
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And then when
Um,
did that happen? Like, were you really young or was it that time?
I was pretty young. It was right around, it was I was probably younger than that. Might have been like between like 6 and 8 or something like that. Enough to
Okay.
kind of, I don't know, probably throw out the development in a little bit more like different of a direction, and that's
Yeah.
fine because I think having like something like that happen when you're younger does allude to um maybe being a little bit more empathetic to others. And I know music has so much to do with connecting people, and I think that's a big part that always appealed to me too with starting to play it,
Hmm.
is just how much it connects everyone, how many people go to concerts, how much music affects every movie that you watch, every big scene that they have has a soundtrack in the background sort of telling you how to feel.
Sure.
um and I think that just I don't know, there was something about just like heavier rock music or something that
Yeah. So
just like,
so why did you feel metal? I mean, was there, coming from a family divorce, I wasn't like that. My parents, I actually grew up with my both of my parents for the majority of
okay.
my life. But they didn't separate till I was an adult, so that's a weirder kind of dynamic. But um so like as a kid, coming from like parents that are separating, you finding metal, I mean, a lot of exposure to country, which you obviously kind of push back against kind of instinctively, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, but metal, why metal? Yeah, why do you feel metal? Why did you feel metal? Was it rebellious? Did you feel like it was like a rebellion thing?
I think it was sad. I think it was
Yeah,
just like,
but not all
you
metal's
know,
sad.
I not all metal is sad, no, but it was
You were
I
sad and you wanted to be in a better mood, and metal made you feel good.
no, I think I wanted to be on that same frequency. I think I
Okay,
wanted to be like understood. I think I wanted music that was feeling the way I did, because you feel a lot less alone when you can relate to something, to
sure,
anything.
of course.
And um I think, my family remained still into country and everything, still kind of on that league. So when I switched over to music, that kind of music was my thing. And being kind of sort of like a little bit of a black sheep in my family, I think that really helped me just feel really connected to something. And I think
Hmm,
in school and stuff, I was definitely like more of an alternative kid. My friends were alternative kids.
right.
I don't know, we all definitely just like kind of had that sad boy energy going on, and I think that appealed to me greatly when I was
Okay.
writing, when I was listening. So
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I mean, I can kind of attest to the same, really. That's why like when I first heard your music, the first thing I heard was the new single Godfucker off of the new album. And immediately kind of like intrigued by it because I thought it sounded great. I thought it sounded very powerful. Your vocals are obviously very compelling. It's just like you kind of can't avoid it if you're listening to it. Um, and then so I went back into the rest of your catalog and your BIOS and so forth. And so I understand that you have this kind of conflict with your earlier music. And, as every musician does, right? Because you don't necessarily know what you're doing. You don't necessarily know what it is to write a song or how to write a song or what you even want to say.
yeah.
And obviously your voice was not kind of like where it is now, but but it was also very good. I mean, like think because I come from that realm,
Mhm.
I think that we're probably very similar in the sense that we write songs. The first songs I wrote were sad bastard songs too, because that's just the way I felt. And, guitar is kind of the most accessible instrument for that type of stuff. And so it has a folky kind of nuance to it. But also, I do like rock music. I do like heavier music. I definitely got into noise rock. And so, I started to incorporate those elements, but I have yet to make the push that you have into this very, almost doomy, almost sludgy style of music.
Hmm.
So I relate to your music. I like it. I like all of it, really.
Yeah.
So that split, that wasn't the first one that you did?
No, we actually had there was one album before that called Failing in the Right Direction, and we literally called it that because we knew it was gonna flop. Like we knew it was gonna not feel right, but it was more
Right.
important to make it than to
Right.
have it
First,
be perfect. Because as much as it would be nice to have your first album be incredible and have you just be like so locked in. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just, before I was playing acoustic music. So I had influences, but I had no idea how to do that. And the main like music that was being played in this scene with like among my friends and stuff was a lot, it's still rock music, but gentle. It
Mm,
was, kind of like the Midwest emo kind of crowd scene. And like I never felt like I was supposed to fit there, but it was I couldn't scream yet. I didn't know how to do that. I had
mm.
what I felt like was like a little girl voice. Like I did not feel like
Sure.
I could put power behind anything that I was doing yet.
I feel like that
And
now.
it's it's a weird thing to like between your body and your brain
Mm.
to push that, and I had no idea how to do it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually did want to talk about that a little bit. I mean, like, like I was saying a little while ago, your voice is powerful. I mean, it's definitely clear and present on your new record. And I feel like it's a little different for coming from a woman, and I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but I mean, like, it definitely brought immediate kind of like comparisons in my mind to like L7 or Babes in Toyland or something like that. I mean, um, I don't know if that's like maybe a narrow view of mine, but I mean, I think that those are kind of the most closely related type of bands to you.
So my one of my biggest influences when I was in high school and I was like playing bass in the band, so I was playing like electric instruments for the first time, was the
Right.
Distillers. Brody Dale was
Oh,
a
okay.
huge inspiration to me, and she's very much the same way. She just like she's got this harpy sort of screech and energy that comes out of her, and I immediately aspired to be able to do that.
Hmm.
It took a long time, but yeah, bands like that, absolutely. I've never loved putting myself in the position of like the female front woman because I don't know, I guess I always associated that with like my gentler singing, where I think it's easier for a girl to be kind of a songbird, just
Sure.
naturally. We have
Yeah.
we have naturally like, you know, sort of musical voices and things. And I
Sure.
didn't I've have been singing my whole life. I've always loved singing. I did little karaoke as a kid at my mom's like garage neighborhood parties. Like I've
Hmm.
always loved singing, but singing like that to me really appealed because it seemed to come from this like really deep place of like pain and just I don't know, just like freedom, I guess,
Yeah.
with like
Well,
your own personal
demons
like
or
dark.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, like, so a couple things about that. I mean, like, how do you maintain that voice? Because like speaking to you now, I'm just like, I was gonna expect Nikki to come on and sound like she smoked like three packs of cigarettes, kind of like how I'm sounding, sounding right now. So,
I get that a lot. People will talk to me and be like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to sound so like little."
no, but I'm
Um,
just saying, like, I mean, your voice sounds normal, like it's
yeah.
it's weird. Like singing voices are weird because like Ted Leo, do you know him?
Mm,
Right. Okay. Love that guy and love his voice. And he sings kind of like an angel. Then you meet the dude and you talk to him and he has a voice just as low, if not lower than mine.
sure.
So, that's always just weird. It's just a weird thing that happens that some people are able to control with their voice. So, I mean, so how do your voice, how do you maintain it?
Well, oh, I guess I do a lot of singing just normally around like my house, in the car, like stuff like that. We practice twice a week, so for like pretty long periods of time, so that does help me keep up with it. But I actually had asked a vocalist in another band in the local scene. He's the vocalist of Wander. His name's Dan.
Mhm.
He has a just very good scream and a very good technique. And I had actually asked to sit down with him at one point and just ask like a little bit about technique. And after I sat through and practiced with that a little bit, I feel
Mm.
like I just sort of locked into how to push it really hard without hurting yourself and then just kind of grew on that strength. But I don't really practice any screaming. I don't even do I'm sure it's probably frowned upon, but I actually believe in having a like syrupy beverage before you play instead of like water, because
Okay.
for some reason that like coating kind of helps you push this extra guttural, disgusting scream.
Sure.
So as far as maintaining my voice, I don't.
But I mean, even like, because even at, like, well, how do you feel after you perform?
Um, if we're feeling really spicy that night and I feel like I really need to go hard to have a performance, I'm pretty squeaky afterwards,
Hmm.
to the point where we usually laugh about it on the way home from the practice space. But usually I can get through a set without really damaging anything or like changing my voice even.
Yeah.
Screaming's kind of become a very natural thing with me. Like I said, between kind of the brain and the body, there's seems to be some like good lock-in where if you can just get your sort of feeling and confidence to push the scream, your body kind of knows what to do already without
Hmm.
making it painful.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I was curious about that as well. I mean, like, like, what do you think is more important about your vocals? I mean, like the message you're singing or how you're singing it?
I would really love to think it's a combination of both. Especially I take lyrics pretty seriously. I'm a like I said, I'm pretty serious just as a person, so I feel like I really want my lyrics to mean something. I really want to say something important if I can. And especially now that we've kind of gotten into this pattern of getting harder and heavier, I always say if we're going to be this loud, you better have something to say.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Screaming is screaming these words are really fun for me to do and hopefully fit the song well. But I'd like to think that the message is important too, and I try to write things, especially with this last album, about things that I find important. This album's all about power, and the struggles that people face against it, in kind of all facets. Um, Godfucker, for instance, is uh, basically kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde song. It's power dynamics between love and betrayal and standing up for things and being strong for those things. So
Hmm.
I think trying to be heavy about the message and drive that home is important.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and do you think that the content of what you're singing about helps push that voice of yours to that extent that it's kind of reaching?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. Some of our music can be rather snarky, and I think that's become really fun for me too, to be able to kind of get a little sassier, a little snottier with it, and make snappy little faces while we're performing and things, and then get Kyle, our other vocalist, to
Hmm.
do more background vocals back and forth too, to have this sort of sassy conversation.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah, kind of spreading that out a bit.
That's cool. Okay. At least let's just move into the idea of like, influences and so forth. I mean, I invited you on here to speak about an album that you thought was important and influential to you, and you
Mhm.
choosing Melvin's Stoner Witch. That's a pretty brutal one. Melvins are a weird band.
Yes, they are. I would probably say they're my favorite. Um, I first heard them probably right around the time I recorded my first record. They definitely like changed things for me. So about 2016, 2017. Um, I I think I heard Houdini first. And I really did like that. I think I was actually on a tour, one of our first tours as a band. And we were in Michigan staying at this guy's house, and he was playing Houdini on in the background. And I remember just like stopping the conversation we were having, and I was just like,
Hmm.
listen, can you just tell me what this is? Because I need to write it down or something. Um, and he was like, oh, it's Melvin's. And honestly, my first my first thought when he said who it was I've heard of this band. This is kind of like a dad rock band or something, like it was definitely older than me. I knew they were from like 80s.
Sure.
Um
Right.
and I was like, "Oh, cool. Like this is very, very up my alley," but I hadn't had kind of this pocket of influence yet in bands.
Okay, wait, wait.
Um
How old are you here in this first tour?
oh, 20.
I mean, you're saying this was 2016, so this was like 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm 30 now, so yeah, I was about,
Okay, but so still like early 20s,
yeah,
possibly late
the early
teens.
20s for sure.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I think it was early 20s, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So that's kind of late to get into the hard rock thing. I mean, like,
yeah,
you got the guitar at around 12, you started to learn guitar around that time. Um, like so when did things like get heavier for you? Like at that time that issue that this person showed you Melvins?
basically, yeah. Melvins was a big kind of turnaround band
Like
for me.
like you weren't into Nirvana prior, like in around the 94 late
Oh,
90s era or something like that?
mean, definitely. I always loved like grunge was actually so yeah, sorry. I definitely started out with like just straight punk influence. I loved, the Distillers. I went through a very hard grunge phase.
Okay.
Which Melvins did influence a lot. And
Sure.
so that was kind of I worked backwards a little bit with them.
Okay.
But no, I was big into Nirvana, the Soundgarden, all those bands from the 90s coming out of like Washington were absolutely my jam for quite a while in that time period.
Right. As they were
I
for
just
all of us. But see, I'm
yeah,
15 years older than you. So like when I was a teenager, this stuff was starting to kind of blow up. So you
sure.
got into it later just by, just the association of age, like you just you're born at a later time.
Exactly.
So that's why you got
Exactly.
into it at a later age.
Yep. I
Okay.
definitely got into the cool stuff late. I did not have like, I don't know, uh friend groups or dads or uncles or anything that like already listened to that music that
Right.
could show me. So I feel like I got into it through um more just my musical peers that were around like the local scene. When I actually started playing music is when I got
Right.
more further influenced. But Melvins was definitely the band that once I heard it, I locked on super hard to whatever that was.
Right. Right.
Which to me was these like I always call it the wall of sound. Um, Buzz
Yeah.
specifically is a big influence of mine for guitar. Just using, a kind of minimal setup for pedals and just kind of having this big sort of static wave of tone.
Sure.
um I instantly like fell in love with that and kind of switched our sound from being more of like the fast little punk songs to more of these
Sludgy, drony.
yeah, kind of sludgy, kind of like still keeping like grunge influence. I've always loved grunge very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of having like an evilness to like the guitars or the sound. I think I just related to most. So
Sure.
Melvin's definitely hugely appealed to me for that reason.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can hear that. I can see it, for sure. I actually doing a lot of research about Melvins, to prepare to speak with you tonight. I did watch that YouTube video of Buzz Osborne's the Riff Lords
The riff lord.
for Gibson guitars.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I think I have actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sent it to the guitarist I'm working with now. I was just like, dude, you got to see what this guy does because it's like we're trying to tell him to like you got to minimize your pedal board. You got to minimize like the confusion and the chaos. So like sometimes just going straight in is all you need if you just have a good amp and just turn it up
Exactly.
just the right way.
Exactly.
All right.
Doing that much with like just a very minimal thing has always appealed to me too.
Yeah, he
Um,
just relies on his tone switch to for his pickups to switch
yeah,
from his pickups.
yeah, he fascinates me. He's one hell of a performer.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I've never been a huge Melvins fan, though they somehow were my first show, and I've mentioned this before.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine was a big fan, and he asked me if I would like to go when I was a teenager, and I had never been to a real show. I'd been to local shows,
Hmm.
but I'd never been to anything. like that was seemed like bigger than the locals, you know?
Hmm.
So it was Melvins with L7 opening and then Wool. Do you know Wool?
No.
Yeah, this is weird. This was 96, I think. So I think it was actually this era. I think it was actually around the time because I think it was Mark Dutrom that was playing bass because he was wearing the fucking cowboy hat when I saw these guys play in Providence, but I had no idea. I had no idea who they were. I mean, I knew who they were because like I knew the name and I knew the
Yeah.
association to grunge, but I didn't listen to any of their music at the time. I didn't know anything they were playing. I was just like, whoa, these guys are fucking intense. But
Yes.
yeah, so
Exactly.
so what was your first experience with Melvins as far as seeing them? Like, because you know, you listen to Houdini, you fall in love. Like,
Yeah. So perfect timing. I fall in love head over heels. And
mm,
then like a year later in July, I recorded my first record in July of 2016. And then in July of 2017, so literally a year later, they played with Mudhoney
mm,
for an amphetamine reptile show at Grumpy's. So this
okay,
small bar. They played out back. It was 1,000 degrees outside. And of course they're in like their long like costumes at this point. And yeah, I was just so taken aback. They were so perfect. And it was in like, there just wasn't that many people there because there couldn't be. It was a small setting. So I
mm,
saw them in this very just, I don't know, felt like a very personal setting. And then I've seen them every single time they've come back since. I have not missed them once.
cool. That's great. Yeah, I haven't seen them since actually, but I will. I will at some point. Because now that I've been listening to it more, I mean, like, so I talked to Blake Bickle. He's from Milwaukee as well, isn't he?
I
Or he's
think so.
somewhere close by.
Yes.
I
Oh
forget.
yeah, yeah. He's from Milwaukee.
Yeah. So we talked about Houdini. So
Oh,
yeah,
did you? Oh,
he
cool.
beat you to it. It's not a big deal.
Dang.
Yeah.
No.
But I had no idea what to talk about for that album either, because I mean, you know, the Melvins are a difficult band. I mean, so Buzz is the leader. I mean, he's the
Yeah.
songwriter. Uh, i- he's kind of difficult. It seems like, you know, depending on what interview you see of his or read of his, you're less like he sounds like he's like being an asshole, but he's like being genuine, like he's telling the truth, but he's kind of like it's a little snide. You know, there's this
Yeah.
kind of this weird relationship you have to have with him if you listen to the band.
Seems like it. Could be.
You
I've
don't think, well, what do you think?
I I don't mind that honestly. I also one of the bands I got into kind of late high school was like Tomahawk, which is Mike Patton's band. And
Yep.
like Mike Patton's also known for having like kind of that personality type.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Um yeah, just being a little difficult and like I don't know, it's hard to judge because I don't know what it would be like to constantly have people like coming up to you wanting to talk to you, wanting to discuss the thing that like you love doing but maybe don't love necessarily like talking about in that way.
Right.
So I
Especially when you
think
talk about it so often. If it's but it's the same thing. I
exactly,
mean, that dude gets requests to do interviews and so forth like all the time.
exactly. And like yeah, once you're a legend, you're a legend. Everybody wants to like know how or why or
Sure.
um I have three separate times I've walked outside of the venue because they've been like either playing with Boris, so they played first or something, or just at Grumpy's or something where it was like a small venue where I've kind of run smack dab into him, stared at him like a deer in the headlights, and then just walked away. So I've been
Okay.
like scared to meet him personally.
So you've never spoken to
Someday.
him.
No, someday I would love to. I last time I saw them, or one of the last times I saw them, they played here at Varsity Theater with Boris off of that album actually, I think. And I walked outside and he was standing there and I like he looked at me like, "Oh yeah, hi, come talk to me." And
Right. It's
I
okay.
just
You can talk to me.
and, and I gave him this doofy little like half bow and just took off the other way down the street. I was super embarrassed.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
I
glad you're sharing
think
that with everybody.
yeah, I know. Um, yeah, no, maybe someday I'll work up the courage, but he is definitely like my biggest guitar inspiration. So
Hmm.
I don't even know what I would say to him if I had the opportunity.
Sure.
Um, but yeah,
Right.
I don't think it puts me off when musicians are difficult per se because they're people too, and you don't really
Yeah.
they don't owe you.
No, I just curious if it's like a persona, like, because you have the thing where you're doing this interview, so it's not like you have the, especially when it's like so often, you have the ability to kind of take on whatever persona you want if you really want to. So I feel like, it could have been one of those things where like from the very beginning of his band, and being and doing these things and kind of having these outlets to speak his mind, like it could have been as easy as like what can I get away with?
Yeah.
Because he seems like a little bit of a troublemaker. I mean, he's definitely mentioned how, like, as a teen, like prior to music, like, he would do some, petty theft stuff. He's just like, he has much of an opposition towards authority.
I suppose as a musician, you have to have a little bit of a healthy dose of that when everybody's like, I don't know, when you're trying to become like, or just I guess pursuing music, a lot of people turn their nose up or think it's sort of a silly thing to spend all of your time and money doing. And then you get to a point where other people are telling you that you're great or good or whatever, and you're seeing success, and then they completely switch gears, and all of a sudden it's so cool and they want to be around. And
Right.
I'm sure that's just, I think you kind of maybe develop a nose for bullshit at some point, and that's why maybe you get a little difficult.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean that could be true. Um, so considering we're at this point and kind of talking about this talking about Buzz specifically and kind of like his weird like I guess I'll say attitude, but I mean I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. Um, I was partaking in an interview that he was doing with We Rec Records
Mhm.
through New Noise magazine, I believe. Um, so when he was approached with a question about his song At the Stake, which is on this album,
Yes.
um, he was asked what's something someone wouldn't know about its conception, about that song. And so Buzz responds that he thinks that At the Stake is more of his feeling like his own ideas are getting burned at the stake. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, like being a songwriter yourself, and if you wanted to put yourself in his shoes to per se, the song. I mean, if you can imagine it if you want.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like, what do you think he could mean by that?
Burning at the stake. Well,
Like in his ideas. I mean, like, I guess he's talking about the song. He's being asked about the song. So, I mean, like, your ideas. I mean, is it the writing or is it like what do you think?
hmm, that's a rough one. My brain immediately went to a song off one of our older albums that we wrote called How Much. And the song is literally just about um how much of yourself you need to give away to be able to write music, to be able to self-reflect, to be able to put yourself out there and be like have people be disappointed. Think that you write something that you're really proud of or that you think might connect people and have it, be the song maybe that does worst on the record or something, it just gets buried or
Right.
people are like, you're trying to connect and relate and not everybody sees it that way or not everybody gets all the way through that part in the album. And that's kind of, I guess, how I might take that is um, how much of yourself do you have to burn to
Mm.
get certain feelings or ideas connected or across.
Right. Or I don't know, like in that interview, he doesn't specifically say like who is burning these ideas of his, it's like
Mhm.
who is the contrarian here? Who's making this awkward moment, right? Like who's
Sure.
asking or who's questioning your motives as a writer or what you're saying or whatever it is. So I assumed he was probably referring to like critics or fans. It could be either or it could be both for all I know.
I He gives me the impression that he doesn't give a crap about that or critics or fans. I think I could see him talking about himself because
Hmm.
they've written so many albums. And it's obviously they love I whenever I see them, I get so inspired because I can just tell that they're a band that absolutely loves doing what they do. And him especially gives me that impression. So I think, every time that I write a record, I try to go heavier, I try to go further, I try to, you know, create something unique um from before. So I think maybe he's referring to that battle with himself,
Hmm.
with burning his old ideas and trying to come up with something new and not, the same thing he's done over and over again or
Yeah. Cool.
so.
Okay. That's a pretty interesting take, and I can probably see it considering, what I've heard of him and, his opinions on how he feels about people in general. He seems to be
Mhm.
like a no nonsense kind of like no bullshit guy. It's just like if you don't like he's openly said it's like if you don't like our music, it's not for everyone. Like we don't care. Like don't come
Yeah.
to the shows. Like
I love that. I
yeah.
respect that.
Right. Well, and he doesn't need to. I mean, he's built his kind of like loyal following of people that equally don't give a fuck or love
Yeah,
him for not giving a fuck. I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah. He's
Exactly.
all right. Well, they're great. I mean, I've definitely developed a much more kind of respect for that band in these most recent years, actually. Um, so let's see. I guess we should probably kind of start talking about this record a little bit.
Sure.
Uh, well, so I was listening to that podcast, We Wreck Records.
Yeah.
And it was specifically about the making of Stoner Witch, so I kind of had to like partake in it.
Mhm.
And one interesting thing, which I thought was super weird for a songwriter, was that he said that he used to solely write lyrics to the music, whereas now he does the opposite. He actually writes the lyrics first and then the music.
Interesting.
Yeah. Super interesting because I mean, well, how do you do it?
Um, I honestly would probably say I did the opposite. I think I used to kind of consider it more of like a poem process that you would then put to music, but now I really, really enjoy kind of listening to even just like a part of the song, like a riff you kind of start on before the song's fleshed out. And I'll loop that part over and over again, and eventually it'll connect to an emotion and then a word, and then I kind of build it around whatever that is.
Hmm. Okay.
So I feel like it starts off very loose concept, but I always try to build it off of what I think the core emotion of those like notes or the riff is saying. Does it sound manic? Does it sound
Sure.
sad? Does it sound like, I don't know?
Right. And the
Yeah.
initial melody with the riff.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely change. I really like working on the lyric process a lot. The singing, screaming, or even being able to add in our second vocalist, Kyle. He's doing vocals now,
Hmm.
as well. I still write all that stuff, but being able to work with two vocals now and just being like, okay, when I do this, you're gonna do this, and like now I have even more to work with. And he writes the he composes songs now for us as well, so that's also really exciting to be kind of just handed an outline and be like, okay, come up with like what we're gonna sing over this and what the song's gonna be about.
Hmm.
So that's also a cool process too of just deciphering what his emotion was writing the song and then having to put words to that or put a concept to that is really interesting. But yeah, I would say the music kind of comes first at this point just to set the tone.
Hmm. Okay. But it sounds like you kind of, yeah, like you're balancing the two of them. Like, so you have an initial riff that you bring in, and then you kind of work with the riff. And then obviously, as most songs aren't just one riff. So you kind of add to that, you develop it somehow, you kind of come up with another part.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, fleshing out like a skeleton of it, yeah, is
Right.
usually, yeah.
Okay. And so he also says that he revises a ton and edits a ton. So I mean, like it, which is kind of surprising because of his output. I mean, like he guy puts out like a full length record at least every year, if not
Yeah.
two, maybe three for a
Hmm.
triple album or a double album, whatever the fuck. It's crazy. But
Right.
so I mean,
Hardworking.
yeah, how do you feel about the revising?
Um, so I recording is one of my least favorite things to do because of how much I love revising.
Hmm.
Um, Having to put something down on paper that I know in probably 6 months when we start writing new music and we're challenging ourselves to write even better, greater, deeper, whatever stuff. I know I'm going to go back and be like, oh, if I had just thought of this for 5 extra minutes, I would have added this and this and this, and now it's permanent.
Hmm.
So yeah, revisions are really fun for me. I love to sit, even when we're at an almost recording process. Like I'm making revisions in the studio a lot of the times where I'm just like, hey, let's speed this up. Like, hey, Kyle, can you add on this sentence and just yell this over me? Um, Revising till the very end, I think, is fun because it's all a creative process. It's all making art. So it's, you're gonna come across things that are just gonna add to it just this little bit more
Right.
and make it more interesting or I don't know, revising lyrics especially, I feel like I do up until the very last minute.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, and so what was it like for the new album? I mean, there's like, would you say this new album was done just like that? Like every song was kind of like a kind of constant work in progress up until it was like, okay, we're out of money. Let's leave the studio.
Basically, yeah, we worked really hard on this one. The I feel like every single song had a phase where even if it had like a full demo where we had like the layout where it's kind of start to finish, I would spend hours just listening to the songs as we wrote them on loop and just trying to, I don't know, write the right message for it or just kind of get it to a point where I was happy with it. I'm very, very like hard on myself when it comes to writing records. And
Hmm.
this one felt just very important for some reason to make it the best possible that we could and really like say something important and really make sure that we added these little extra details and um even in songs where I'm not even like playing a ton of guitar, I'm being more like percussive with my strings and stuff. We were just doing a lot of extra little weird things and um yeah, just I think we kind of beat these songs to death and still somehow aren't tired of them. And we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I guess it's kind of like the freshness of it because if you're working on something up until like the day that you're in the studio and you're like, okay, we have to call it quits for whatever reason, like we're done, like this is done. Like we have to
yeah,
commit this because I mean, you're going to put the record out. It has to be done. Like you can't just keep on working on a record forever.
right.
Um, so maybe it's that freshness that because it's not that old. Yeah, it's not hasn't been that long since you finished recording this, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think we were in there in February. It's
Okay.
been it's been a little bit.
Sure, but not that long, really, especially considering like vinyl turnaround.
Exactly, exactly. And this is our first time working with like kind of a real label that is has been like helping us and helping us pace through when to put like singles out and videos and helping us and supporting us and yeah, I think most of the time we're very DIY normally. We've been that way the whole time. We love to have our hands on things and be very careful with like what we're putting out so that we're happy with it and yeah, so I think that kind of slowed us down and like made us think about it. And when we were recording, especially in studio, we were, I think, constantly doing that too, where we were just like, hey, this is like bigger stakes. We want this to be something we're proud of. We don't want to. Adam Tucker from Signature Tone Recording is who we did this with, and he is
Mhm.
so good at just kind of giving us the space to do that.
Right.
And like he even added on like some little like percussive stuff to our intro song himself. So he even got in on it, which is amazing. But yeah, no, just being kind of open-minded and making it an art process in the studio too is that helps keep it more fun than anything.
Sure. Yeah. It's been a long time for me. I don't really remember that. But I can imagine it can be a little stressful. But so if you, yeah, anything that make it fun, and if you have that ability to kind of just like keep on working on things and revising, I'm not very big on revising. I feel like finish it and then bring it in and then put it down the way it was, you know? Um,
Mm.
but that's just me. And I have no music career, so it doesn't really, matter.
I mean,
Uh,
it's probably a smart thing to be prepared, right?
I mean, everyone does things differently, you know? I mean, I think it's interesting because it's like I don't work that way, so it sounds weird to me, but I mean, obviously it works. I mean, you did make a very good record, so
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, you're doing it right.
Oh.
So, I mean, moving on, like we're just gonna jump around on some of these songs. I don't really have like every song, like I don't have something for every all of these songs necessarily.
Sure.
But but this album specifically, actually, when did you discover this album and why choose this one aside from Houdini was already taken?
Well, and actually, I would have chosen this over Houdini in the first place because this record did like I loved it more.
Okay.
Houdini is a fantastic record. Everybody knows Houdini. If you know Melvins, that's like the record you're gonna know.
Hmm.
Um, but this record specifically, just it's so like for instance, I mean, it starts out with Squeedus, which has like just I don't know the best drum intro. I just love it. Like it just I love how it's recorded. It kind of sounds I feel like it almost kind of changes throughout the record, but it has kind of like a more natural sound. I don't think it sounds super pristine. It doesn't sound
Hmm.
um
Okay.
super like overly processed to me. To me it sounds like it was allowed to just kind of be.
Yeah.
Um and I also really love how sort of just weird and industrial and evil it kind of is.
Sure.
I I probably started listening to this record right around the same time that I saw them. Because I definitely started out with Houdini. I jumped around a lot in their records, where I
Sure.
wasn't really listening to probably like full records. But I was living with the drummer that I first recorded our first album with, and he was a big he had all of the like Melvin's records on vinyl, and we would put on Stoner Witch all the time in
Hmm.
the house.
Okay.
So that one was not only just a record I came to deeply love, but it was just such a nostalgia for that summer where I really started playing music,
Oh, okay.
where I really started the band, where I really was like, oh, I want to pursue music. This is what I want to do. So that record was kind of the theme of that for me.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Well, that I mean that makes sense. So it's their second second major label release. So it was the second one for Atlantic Records. They had no idea where they were going with Atlantic. They had no idea if Atlantic was even going to offer them like a second album, really.
mm,
It is the most money they've ever spent on a recording. They spent $19,000 to record this record. So it is the biggest production that they've ever had.
that's amazing, actually.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, for like I think it's their seventh record overall.
I think so. I did not
Yeah,
write that down, but it sounds about right.
it came out a year after I was born, so that's also crazy to think about. I was
Okay.
just a little one. I think it came out in '94, or no,
Yeah.
a year before I was born.
Oh, okay.
It predates me.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Um, well, okay, so about this album, aside from those things, the thing about the Melvins that I think kind of stands out a lot for anyone that knows anything about them is that like Buzz and Dale's relationship. Like
Mm,
Dale is, Buzz's like one and only drummer. I mean, like I know that he's had some other people like fill in and stuff, but for the most part, he only plays with Dale, you
yeah.
know? And but the bassists come and go. The bassist is a revolving door.
Yeah.
This album had Mark Dutrom, as I had mentioned earlier, on it, and he actually was playing on the Houdini tour cycle, but he didn't
Sure.
play on Houdini. Houdini, there was a number of different bassists that stepped in for every song. Um, but so he had joined when they needed to tour Houdini. So he had been in the band for at least a year prior to the recording of this record. What I thought was interesting was that Buzz admitted in their documentary, I don't know if you've seen it, that Mark was the only bassist that had contributed to the band. And Buzz actually kind of, it seemed like he spoke very fondly of him, like, he really admired and respected his input,
Mhm.
which doesn't seem characteristic of Buzz.
No, yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I do like the work. I mean, like, listening to the bass on this album, it definitely stands out. It definitely like kind of pulls my ear towards it. And it's just interesting work. And I mean, I've seen some interviews with Mark as well, and he's an interesting guy. He's just kind of a strange, interesting dude all around.
Mm.
Um, so, but thinking about Melvins at the time, the era of this recording, and thinking about that band, and it made me think about your band. You already mentioned to me that like your band has been around. The current lineup has been pretty solid, and it's been around for a few years, right?
Yes, Mono, my drummer, has been around for about 5 years. Kyle's been around for about four now. Sam, I can relate to the revolving basis. Sam is our
Hmm.
newest member. He actually just came around like kind of right as we recorded this last record. Um, but yeah, he's super solid. This feels like a very good fit for us right now. But me, Mono, and Kyle are we've been the core for a while, and I think we like genuinely feel that. And beforehand, I think I had an issue kind of taking my hands off the wheel a little bit because I've been doing the band for 9 years. It's been all of my writing, all of my like I was the one booking shows and pursuing things, and I was kind of expected to be at the helm. And I think that's still kind of a thing in the band, just because it was started by me, but Kyle and Mono contribute so much to this, and we're so locked in that this is how it's going to be from here, and I know that.
Right. Okay. Well, that's great. So I dare not ask, like, who is your favorite member of the band? But no, I'm curious. No, no, no. I'm curious of like like how you think about them as far as like, on an individual basis, what do they bring to the band?
Um, so Kyle and Mono specifically, because we're still like locking in with Sam and we love Sam, but with how long Mono and Kyle have been with me, those two are my brothers. They're just like having two big brothers. They are so enthusiastic about doing this, and I know they've both voiced like, we're in it as long as you're in it, which
Hmm.
is really special to me because I've gone through a lot of different like lineups and not sure, I kind of felt like I was doing something wrong with people just being busy. I was like, am I just like not writing good enough, or this music just isn't good enough to keep people around? And that's not the case. People get busy. I've had band members for a long time that are in multiple projects and like are
Sure.
happy to kind of sub in and be there for a while but can't stay. And I just, having to restart every couple of years or every years for the first, many years of the band was very difficult. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to like keep it. So
Hmm.
um I know when I first kind of like turned over my one of my first lineups, Mono was the first person that I thought of. He shared a practice space with me. I was so stoked when he said yes. I wanted like kind of a hardcore drummer because I knew I wanted to write punk music. I wanted a drummer that was like, had some kind of stamina to keep up. And I love Mono's drumming. Mono's also he's our moral support a lot of the time. Kyle and I are extremely similar people when it comes to writing music and when it comes to just what music means, and what being in a band means. So a lot of the time, I feel like we're very hard on ourselves, and
Hmm.
Mono tends to keep us kind of light and reminds us that this is fun and what we love doing. So he's very important. And then Kyle came around. He moved here from Alabama, actually. So he's not even from here.
Hmm.
and he was seeing us play at Palmer's with the band New Primals, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I saw him in the crowd and was just like, kind of want to be that guy's friend. And we just happened to at that point, Mono and I needed a bassist and a guitarist, so we were actively looking for members, and he came in and tried out for both. And we I think we had just seen like an Instagram video of him playing guitar and was like, okay, whatever that guy's doing, like I think that's the right fit.
Hmm.
And it took one practice playing with him to just I don't know, just genuinely feel like he was going to add the right weird mix. He calls his contributions his clown shoes to our band, which we always think is funny because he's got, in contrast to me, he has a very large pedal board.
Uh,
I couldn't even begin to count them. But yeah, just dancing all over that, his clown shoes. Um, but yeah, as far as writing goes too, I used to be the sole like writer on everything, and it was kind of hard to give that up or like let somebody else kind of come in and affect the band because it had been mine for so long. But Kyle's writing complements mine and what we do so well that he's started writing more for the records, and it's been really exciting to kind of watch that also influence our sound.
hmm. Okay. And Sam,
And Sam,
he's the
Sam
newest
just
edition, right?
yeah, Sam is our newest addition. Sam is in another band called Lungs from around the local scene. And he is extremely proficient. He's such a good just kind of a workhorse type member where he just came in and was like, yeah, I like doing this. I'm gonna learn all of this. We can just I mean he lives an hour away from our practice space and he still shows up and
Hmm.
like just he's just a really solid person, and like we need that too.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially yeah, especially now with writing this record and really wanting to pursue off of it. I just really feel like we're locked in as a band now. I'm really excited for this year.
Yeah. All right. Oh, great. I'm glad to hear it. I hope that didn't put you on the spot too much. I mean, I think I know that it seems to me that you clearly, obviously, love and respect your band. Most bands are like that. Bands that are not like that usually don't last. So, no, I just kind of wanted to get a perspective from you about like how you feel about them as far as like, what they bring to it because I don't know, I guess I've joined bands again recently, and so I kind of see the dynamic between members in two different respects, and it's like this band is very different than this band. Why are they so different?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, we're dorks. We love
Yeah,
each other. We're dorks, and
sure.
I couldn't ask for anything better, honestly.
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, let's see. Well, first of all, the name of it, Stoner Witch.
Yes.
So the first thing I found was that the title springs from a term that Dale Crover and his friends used to describe the stoner chicks at their high school.
Yes.
You're familiar. Okay.
Yes. I love that very much.
Well, would you have been considered a stoner witch
Yes, absolutely. He would have absolutely called me a stoner witch
in high school?
in high school. That was, many a year before I would have been in school, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Because that's what I was saying about earlier. Is this like this like what is it about like what got you into metal? I mean, like you had some attraction to things that are difficult or whatever, and so. But why were you a pothead in high school? Is that why, or
Um,
kind of goth?
honestly, I didn't really do much of that in high school. It was more post high school for me. But in high school, I was an alternative kid and I was friends with all the alternative kids.
Hmm.
Like I wasn't necessarily like, doing too much of the stoner thing, but I was definitely like hanging out with them all. And I was definitely like dressing abominably and, being that kid, getting sent to the office for what I was wearing, stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
So I don't, yeah, I would say like I've always had kind of more of the alternative nature or sort of just lean towards things that didn't quite fit in.
right,
Um, yeah, because I don't think I felt like I fit in. So
sure. Yeah. High school, that's kind of when that happens, I
You're a
guess.
kid.
Yeah, I felt the same way. So about this album more, I mean, like, so if you think about Melvin's fans and you think about their discography, which is huge, um, this is probably like kind of a divisive record in their catalog because there's people that feel very strongly about certain eras and certain albums. This one being, like during the major label era.
Yeah.
Some people, some of their fans aren't crazy about it. And just like the perception of the Melvins. Like I said, I was never really a huge fan, but I always kind of knew who they were and I kind of always had an idea of what they were.
Mhm.
And this album, I guess kind of like Houdini, like if you haven't given them a fair shake and like really listened to the albums like, kind of like all the way through, you wouldn't know that they have some diversity.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose you could say that. I've always considered Stoner Witch kind of an extension of Houdini. They feel very kind of similar to me.
Hmm.
But I can even with like some of their newer stuff, I can see why people would think they're one way. I think people, think that most Melvin's records sound the same.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, or just like have and they definitely have kind of a layout. They have a sound and they've cultivated it perfectly. I like Stoner Witch just because I feel like it has a lot more of that. Is it proto metal or like industrial or like some of kind of the sludgy subgenres that they get associated with? I feel like a lot besides just like grunge and
Right.
metal.
Yeah.
Um, like especially with songs like I don't know, like Road Bull or um Goose Freight Train, I feel like they just have I don't know, they have like an extra evil energy to them that I like a little bit more. And I think he does a really good job too in that record of he's got kind of his like strong voice and his sweet voice. And I
Hmm.
really like how he uses it on Stoner Witch.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Um, so speaking about some of these songs, I mean, like Sweet Willie Roll Bar, I really like that one.
Yes.
That's definitely like a super heavy and fast and driving song. It kind of
Yeah.
it kind of evokes the idea of like, driving really fast in a car,
Yeah,
like driving
big
some like
time.
dragster or some shit.
Yeah, they definitely have kind of that like I don't know, badass action movie theme song kind of thing going through a lot of this record, I feel like
Hmm.
uh Queen, I feel like is really catchy and is kind of their like hit off of the record. And I do
Okay.
love that song to death, but I feel like as the record goes down, it does get into that kind of like just darker it kind of just it gives me kind of like warehouse sort of imagery like
Hmm.
just like weird things going around in a warehouse or like an industrial sort of city or um yeah I don't know Goose Freight Train and like At the Stake are definitely two of my favorites off that record for that reason.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Sweet Willie Roll Bar, I mean, it's a great song. Uh, Buzz has admitted that he took the name from a 60s cartoon, Tom Slick.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was the name of a race car driver in the cartoon, I guess.
Oh, there you go, there's the drive in the car fest.
Well, yeah, I mean, the that feeling, like you were saying about how like when you write music, it's like you kind of try to find what the feeling of the song is, and I guess that's kind of maybe where he came up with this idea, or got the inspiration for it. But I mean, he's also silly. Like that's the thing that I've been noticing about Melvins as well is that they're not a band to be taken seriously ever,
No, they have snarkiness to them, and that's another thing I love too, kind of that like
but they have
evil
humor as well.
sneering.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
big time.
Yeah.
Can't be too serious. I mean, I know I've like described myself as serious, but I mean, we're like a lot of our songs off this new record, for instance, like Godfucker or
Mm.
Christian Singles or things like we. we've tried to kind of adopt that as well and have a little bit of that like take yourself less seriously so you can kind of take in the message.
Sure.
I feel like
Okay.
it kind of helps.
Okay. Um, Speaking about that, maybe like trying to stay in that same realm. I'm gonna move on to the next song, Revolve.
Mhm.
I got a lot about Revolve for some odd reason. So, speaking with ABC Audio, Osborne shares how he came up with the sludge metal classic Revolve while in San Francisco in a hotel out by the beach by the zoo. He says, quote, I remember sitting on the edge of the bed and coming up with that opening riff and just realizing, oh, this is cool. So how do you feel about, like, how do you feel the writing process went with this new record for you?
Hmm. I think we sort of went with an atmosphere of like a creature. Um, we had written a song on the last record called Softy, and people kept calling it our Melvins song, which was so nice for me. I think it's actually like our most popular song on Spotify or something right now. People really liked that one.
Okay.
And that one, I actually wrote about my mom. But it's literally about like a creature. It's supposed to have this sort of like stalking sort of feeling to it, where like a monster, like a creature.
But it's your
And I
mom.
think but it's my mom. I mean it's probably like, you know, the same dumb teenage feelings of like, I hate my mom,
Hmm.
coming
Okay.
through there, but it's that sort of writing from like a beast perspective always really appealed to me, and Melvin's definitely feels that way to me. So I think this record especially, that was kind of the energy that we were keeping with you know, snarkiness, with kind of a beast in the woods, or like, you know, something in the dark, or so we really kept up sort of a feral energy for this record as much as humanly possible through um not only just the lyrics kind of being anti-power or you know, that fit it's kind of our dog backed into a corner kind of record.
Hmm. Right.
So the I'm about to bite kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear that for sure. It's so more about Revolve. Let's see. So I really like that song. I think it's a great one. Obviously one of their heavier ones, kind of like very, just kind of great heavy rock. Um, Thinking about what I was saying earlier about how like I've realized that the band has more dynamics than what they're associated with. Like, most people consider Melvins to just be like a doom band and a sludgy, slow band, which I guess I kind of always had that in my head too. And because they do that for sure, and they're great at it. But like Revolve is kind of like this like cock swaggering good time, like almost kind of like Good Willie Roll Bar, like I mean, a Sweet Willie Roll Bar. It's kind of the same kind of heavy, fast. Um, it's kind of contrary to the idea of like doom sludge music.
Totally.
Um, and like so, Willie Roll Bar before that is kind of more in that same vein. That's a super heavy, fast one. And then like the song afterwards, the Goose Freight Train that you mentioned,
Yeah.
is kind of like what I think the Melvins are considered as far as like sludgy and slow music, but it's also like at like a whisper. It's like really
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. I love that one. That's probably one of my favorites off the record.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I mean, is it
Uh,
because of that? I mean, is it because that the like whispered tone of it, or is it because it's just like was it something that you noticed that they did that was different?
I do like that whispered tone of it. Like I said, I really like how on this record he does a lot of, I feel like a little more dynamic with his voice.
Hmm.
Like he kind of gives me like Mike Patton feels off of that. I feel like they both have that really good like kind of come here and listen sort of effect to their voice, and then they also switch and just have this like big powerful that just sits on top of the music or kind of rolls into that big wave of sound that they normally get into, that kind of, the sludginess.
Hmm.
um but yeah, no, I do love how several times towards the end of that record around that area, he is definitely using more of that like evil little come here and see kind of thing.
Hmm.
It just makes it so much more. It does add to the dynamic, but it also just gives it this little, I don't know, just this little snarkiness that I love.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Um, so with that being said, like just talking about the album in a general perspective of kind of like, being being dynamic, being, having its different moods and so forth. I'm just gonna skip down to like a couple of the last songs. Um, one that kind of caught my attention was Junebug.
Junebug.
Not only a good song, but interesting to know about it is that Buzz plays the bass on this one, while Mark Dutrom played the guitar.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh, I had no idea. That is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's and that's like another weird thing that kind of like something I don't know if that happened in the past. I mean, obviously Buzz is, the songwriter for the Melvins. He writes everything and he's very kind of open about that.
Mhm.
And like I said before, Mark Dutrom contributed a lot to this record, but in this case, he contributed on the guitar, which is kind of weird. I don't know if they've ever done that before. I don't really know too much about their history.
Mm-mm.
You don't know
Not
either.
that I know of.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, so, putting this to you, I mean, can you or do you switch it up and on any of your songs?
Oh, instrument wise,
Yeah.
everybody's kind of got their job. And I
Hmm.
think that works out for everybody. Um, but we're really, really big in the writing process on being like, hey, can we try this? Or hey, can you play this? Or like I'll tell like, mono on drums even like, hey, can you add a fill here that's, it's impossible to speak drummer, but
Right. Yeah, it is.
and probably really annoying for him. But yeah, just we usually keep it really open. Kyle's able to say that same thing to me where he's like, hey, can you try playing, something else here? Can you try this part? Or I
Right.
wrote this part here. Like, so I don't know, keeping that open is, I think, the best way to get as many results as possible for sure. And like, I don't think we'd ever be opposed to like swapping it up a little bit. I mean, I used to play bass and we've talked about
Right.
doing it as a three piece before when we didn't have a bassist where I would jump back onto bass. So, um, I don't know. I think that's interesting when you can get in on the writing process so much that you can switch around instruments.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we definitely kind of stay in our corners.
Sure. Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in
Um,
your lane.
it is good to push though. I mean, and like, I've been noticing that recently too with like the bands that I'm participating in, is this the sometimes ever so gentle nudge, or sometimes even like the very blatant like you got to try this, like you have to figure this out.
Mm.
But being pushed, I mean, I think that that's actually pretty nice. I have a
Yeah.
very fond memory of a previous band member who, I mean, I'm playing with him now, but I used to play with them a long time ago, and he used to push me a lot. I mean, he used to even make me buy instruments. He's very persuasive, this guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, just being in Guitar Center, I was just like playing around on this like organ. I don't know how to play keys. He was just like, "You should get that." I'm like, "That's $1,400." He's like, "But you can do something with it." I was just like, "I don't know how to play it." He's like, "You'll learn." I swear to God, those are the words he said to me in those tones. And I bought it and I ended up using it. And
Well,
I actually did something pretty great with it. I'm actually probably one of my most like favorite pieces that I had come up with was on that thing.
that's peer pressure ain't so bad, I guess.
There's different times in my life where,
Yeah.
go ahead and blowing $1,400 didn't seem like a big deal for some odd reason. I was at my
Mhm.
poorest, but that was fine. So
It's a
you never
musician's
know.
fault.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but I appreciated it because I mean, like for some reason, completely like without sharing the idea, without saying like, hey, I was kind of thinking about like, what if I really want to learn how to play piano or something like that. Like unprovoked, someone can kind of suggest an idea as radical as this, like, why don't you pick up that instrument and try it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
something might happen out of come of it. I mean, you never know, but you never know until you try,
Absolutely.
I guess.
Yeah. Kyle's a big one for that in our band. Kyle's like with not only just his obnoxiously large pedal board full of
Hmm.
options, but he's always playing with stuff and like that does encourage us to also play. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, he's even made instruments out of just like random oh, he made some weird like violin-esque instrument the other day and was like recording demos with that. Like he loves that kind of stuff, but
Hmm.
we just love experimenting too and genuinely have fun with each other in the art process. So that's just really important.
Yeah. No, I agree with
Yeah.
you. Sure. So let's see. I actually don't have too much left for you. I wanted to talk about Sheevil for a little while.
Uh,
This is a good one for you. You like this one?
everybody likes she.
Everyone does? Really?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what
Wow.
the fan consensus about this song is necessarily.
I suppose neither do I. I'm the only one I'm
You're only speaking
referencing.
for yourself. You love this song. That's fine. Hey, you're entitled to love whatever you want. Well, oddly enough, so Buzz said that this song is very positive, and it's probably his closest to writing a quote unquote happy song.
Wow, that's really nice actually. It's consider I always thought the song name was clever and nice. I liked
Hmm.
the idea of Sheevil.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I
Um,
suppose comparatively, yeah.
Comparatively to what?
Oh, to just like most of the record kind of having more of that kind of evil vibe. Sheevil and Queen, I feel like are sort of the pop out ballads where I can see where they sound a little bit more enthusiastic.
Hmm. Okay. But I think it's interesting that he describes it as happy.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, so what's the percentage of positivity you have on Hooligans?
Zero. It's not. I don't I don't think I write happy songs. I don't think that's an emotion that I write with whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, I think we have some goofier songs. Like we have our very intro song that's just called Pets.
Right.
And that was that was actually just written. I had a couple of notes and I told Kyle and Mono to just start playing them, and then I just sort of like rapped the lyrics over it in practice, which was very weird. And
Hmm.
we started doing it live too. We've been opening our sets with Pets. Um, oh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Take your time.
But as far as like happiness, so as far as just like happiness goes, like that's more of just like a silly little like, don't touch my friends, don't touch my pets.
Right.
Um, and like I'd say silly and sarcastic is about as like happy or positive as we usually get.
Hmm. Okay. Well, so I mean, like, which track could you describe as the happiest?
As the happiest? Hmm. I could maybe either say, I mean, Godfucker technically isn't a negative song. It's just about backing up and not turning in your person. Like I'll be with you. I've got your back. Christian Singles is another one of the songs that I don't think is super inherently negative. It's kind of more of just a throw your hands up in the air. It even kind of sounds happier, but it's kind of more
Hmm.
of just a throw your hands up in the air and just be like, well, I don't have the answers. You don't have the answers.
Sure.
Wouldn't it be great if we did? Kind of a vibe, but the rest of the album is because it's so against power and abuses of power, it's a pretty hard negative album.
Okay. All right. It doesn't sound terribly negative though.
Oh,
Not
well,
not
that's
saying it
good.
sounds happy. Not saying it sounds happy at all, but not total downer.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
They'll get
Well,
through it then.
you got the energy behind it to propel you through the sadness, you know. So
Sure.
you're too busy banging your head to worry about being sad or think about it.
That's what we hope. We're just trying to get people through it.
Sure. Yeah. So well, I think that we kind of like covered most of the bases. I mean, like, you know, the Melvins is a hard band to talk about just because I don't know what to believe with that guy. Because I mean, I like him, I respect him. I just don't know, like, I don't trust him as far like any farther than I could throw him. It's just because, like, you know, he's got that bullshit, like, no, that old bullshit attitude. It's just like it's hard to like to take what he says seriously about
Yeah,
most things. You know, I don't know.
I
One day.
suppose.
One day maybe
Yeah.
we'll get to talk to him and you know, we'll have a
Mm,
completely different perspective.
I just take him at face value as the crazy wizard man that's got the fan blowing his hair up while he's playing and he's
Hmm.
just doing his thing. And that's all he needs to be.
Isn't it so intimidating though?
It's awesome.
Some people are like just like you just see them and you just like just cower. Just like, oh my God, don't look at me.
I've done it multiple times.
Right, I know. It's just and it's weird because like you're not that person, right? Like you're a like a powerful like, you know, I don't know the exact word to describe it. Empowered, I guess, right? I mean, you're confident of yourself.
I'd, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, but you know, you're making good music. You're confident in the music. You're happy with what you're making, and it's good music. So, yeah.
Yeah,
What don't you have to be confident about?
that's a good question. That's lovely. Honestly, just to think about, I'm proud of my record, so I can be proud of me too, and proud of my band.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
That's
no,
great.
that's true. Good place to be.
Yeah. Well, so your album's great. I've already mentioned that to you. The song I gravitated to most on your album was probably Bully.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
You okay? You like that one?
I love Bully very much. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites.
It's that one's that's a weird one in the best way possible.
Yeah,
It's a little
it's
weird.
it's a little weird. Definitely one of our darker tracks. Definitely has that like kind of beast energy that I was referencing, probably more than the whole rest of the album.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, trying to think about it right now, it's like I don't have these songs memorized, but I mean, I kind of get them. Um, well, so what do you think is the weirdest quality you take away from the Melvins?
The weirdest quality?
Hmm.
Hmm. I'd probably, I want to say like Buzz's vocals do a lot of that for me. Um,
That you think they're weird, or that they've inspired you to be weird?
they've inspired me to be weirder. I
Okay.
sort of just like the snarkiness, the sort of nonsensical lyrics, that you can think about real hard.
Hmm. That's right.
The power in them too, that kind of like unleashing of energy, is a big pull of that to me. But they also do a lot of weird things on Stoner Witch that I like the dog barking before Sweet Willie Roll Bar. And like
Hmm.
towards the end of the record too, I feel like they just kind of start making weird industrial noises. Like I heard that they did a lot of this live
Mm-hmm.
recording, and that always that always kind of blows my mind because it just has all of these tiny little like accent things thrown in there that aren't necessarily like part of the song as just in like a, verse chorus verse format, but they're all these little things thrown in that adds so much to the tone and temperament of the
Sure.
album. And I think we try to do that a lot too for this record, just add weird little noises. And like just whatever Adam Tugger had lying around the studio. Uh,
Yeah.
and just try to experiment a little bit. So I think that's a big appeal for Melvin's for me is just to kind of experiment and keep building and growing and trying to fit that tone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then best of luck to you with that, with keeping it weird, experimenting
Keeping
and
it weird.
exploring the weird. The Melvins are a weird band.
Yeah.
Fucking totally weird band. Just out of sheer curiosity, I mean, like if you're a fan of Melvins and you really like this album and you think that this one is really important to you, I mean, are there any other of their albums that you also feel very strongly about that we're not discussing tonight?
Um, well, obviously, like I started on Houdini, Houdini rocks.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of like A Senile Animal. A History of Bad Men is one of my absolute favorite Melvin songs. So
Okay.
that one's a big one. I have actually really been liking their new stuff. Tarantula Heart was good for me, and then Thunderball, which is the one that they just put out, um,
Okay.
was also yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I've been loving their new stuff like recently.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get into it because I have been listening to more of their records just because of the proximity of having to listen to Houdini to talk about it and then having to listen to this one to talk about it.
Mhm.
Um, and so like I said, I wasn't a huge fan, but I always loved Bullhead.
Bullhead. Oh, Bullhead. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that one I
mentioned
really
that
that
too.
one is my favorite, but that's because I haven't listened to everything.
Mhm.
More recently, because I get promo packages and stuff, I actually was given the Three-Legged Dog album.
Yep. Okay. I have that one.
Okay, I mean I only have a digital copy of it, but it's the what the five album record, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like this obscene amount of music, but I remember listening to it, I was just like, this is pretty interesting stuff, and it's like a lot of it's acoustic.
Yeah. Yeah. And Buzz's like solo stuff too is really, really good.
Yes,
Um,
I've been meaning to
I'm
listen
a
to that too. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his solo stuff as well.
Okay, cool. Well, so I don't know, I guess that's it. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Feel
I've
like we
had a
did it?
fun time. Yeah. So I've had a fun. I get really nervous with interviews, but you're very easy to talk to. I appreciate it.
Thanks. No, so are you. I mean, it works both ways, really. You never know who you're gonna end up meeting and how they're gonna be.
Yeah.
But no, it's
I'm
been
not
very nice.
difficult.
No, you're not. As far as I can tell, you're not difficult. If anyone had to
Not
grill me on it, I'd be like, that Nikki, she's not difficult.
score. Awesome.
So touring plans for the album, anything coming up aside from the record release party?
Um, we're probably working on one. We'd definitely love to go like further out to a coast or something, but right now we're kind of just focused on trying to hop around to like Chicago, especially. We love Chicago and haven't gotten
Sure.
a lot of opportunities to play there. So that's kind of the focus right now is just to bop around. Maybe in the spring we'd like to head out for like a nice longer tour.
Okay. All right. Well, keep us in mind. We're in Rhode Island, so would love to have you. Uh,
Hmm.
oh, Milwaukee, by the way, that's where you're coming from, right? Crazy music town. Like a lot of crazy good shit is coming out of Milwaukee right now.
Where are we from?
Yeah, you're from Milwaukee, aren't you?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. I'm sorry. That's my brain fart. I'm
No, that's all right.
misspeaking.
We have lots of friends in like Milwaukee, Madison, and stuff like that. I feel like
But
Wisconsin is the place we pop over to most, so that makes sense.
okay, my
Yeah,
my
no, we're from
mistake.
Minneapolis.
But Minneapolis is where all these other bands are from. I mean, like I was talking about Bronson Arm earlier, right? Aren't they from Minneapolis or are they from Milwaukee?
Bronson Arm is from Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
but Scrunchies is from
they're from
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis.
Right.
Yep,
Okay, because I
yep,
talked to
they're
Laura, talked to Laura Larson, and she's amazing.
love Laura.
Yes, me
Yeah,
too. I think all of her music is incredible. It's great.
yep. They're playing our release show on November 1st with
Cool.
us. So
Yeah. So what about you? You guys teaming up and going on tour together?
oh, that honestly, we've talked about that. So that might be something in the works.
Okay.
I would love to play with them. They actually they practice kitty corner from us at City Sound. So we are
Neighbors.
constantly hearing each other's, yeah. We're neighbors.
Great, great. Well, I mean, that would be a very cool, Bill, if you guys could make that happen. And
We don't
yeah, I'd be happy to have you because I'd love to see Scrunchies too. I don't get to see them, so because I don't live over
oh,
there.
cool. We're off to Rhode Island then.
Yeah, come on out. Well, we'll
Cool.
figure something out for you for sure.
Deal.
Okay. Well, best of luck with the record and your record release party. I wish you all the best. I will pick up a copy soon because I think it's a great record and I think everyone else should. Um, any famous last words? Anything that I had neglected to mention that maybe you'd like to mention?
Oh no, I don't think so. I'm just really excited to put out this record and I hope people like it.
Right. Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
hope they do too. I'm sure they will if they're a fan of the Melvins. That's the interesting part about kind of talking about these things. It's like if you even if people don't know who your band is, if they know the Melvins, it's a very good possibility that they would like your band if they listen to it.
that would be the hope and the dream.
All right. Well, that's what we ask. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, James. Thank you so much for the interview.
No problem. Vinyl and Vision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robbins of 123 Astronaut.